So you can't see me, but this is Dr. Guto talking. What you're looking at here is the equipment for making a pellet for the bomb calorimeter. This is the press, and these are the parts for making the pellet. We make the pellet inside this little cylindrical piece of stainless steel, and we do it by putting the flat side down in this cup here, and we put the powder in here. We keep the beveled side up. It's very important that the beveled side be up, and then we'll press it. Now, before we can press it, first, I've done this a couple times to get the settings right, but what you should do is clean everything. Wipe them out, make sure everything's clean and doesn't have residue from some previous job. And when you're all done, clean it off well. You can rinse it off with ethanol into a non-halogenated waste bin. So, I took some naphthalene previously, it's over here, and weighed it in this weigh boat. And then I'm just going to take it and pour it into a mortar and pestle, because to make a pellet, you got to grind it up. It was sort of chunky. You need pieces that are about a 1/2 millimeter on the largest dimension. That's ideal for making a pellet. So you just crush it gently. You don't need to make a fine powder. As a matter of fact, you don't want to make a fine powder. So I weighed it ahead of time to make sure I had a little more than 1/2 gram, because I want about 1/2 gram in the end. And then we take the coarse powder that we made and put it into this press cylinder. So as you can imagine, I'm not going to know exactly how much actually gets in here, because some of it sticks to the mortar and pestle, some of it's going to get spilled. So what I've done prior to making the pellet is, in addition to weighing the naphthalene powder on the analytical balance on the bench, I weighed this little cup, which is what we're going to do, put the pellet in to do the bomb calorimetry. I actually paired it on the balance just before I came to do this. So what I'll do is just take this back to the balance when I'm all done and see how much naphthalene I actually got into the pellet. So if things are adjusted properly, all you have to do is put this on here. You'll push this down gently, and you'll get to a point where it starts to be a little bit hard. We're starting to press on it, and you can see it's sort of it's farther down than halfway, but not all the way down. And if you then press it until it hits there, you should have a pretty good pellet. And then you need to hold the thing down while you lift this up. We can see if we've got a good pellet by taking this off here, and you see nothing's stuck to the inside of the cup, and we got a nice flat surface there. Now we need to get it out. That's what the opposite side for this stand is. It's got a ridge on it. We can set this on the ridge and push the pellet out. You actually, because of this clearance, you actually have to put this on a little bit, and then drop it down onto that. And then you can gently push the pellet out. And if you made a good pellet, and you take this off, you'll have a pretty solid pellet in here. This one's falling apart a little bit. It might be worth doing it again, but in the interest of the time in this video, I'm not going to do it twice. So then you just take the cup over it, turn it over like this, and now you've got your pellet sitting in here, and we'll talk about how to put it in the calorimeter in another video. But first you take it and weigh it on the analytical balance. Everything also needs to be cleaned off well for the next person. So what I usually do is simply take a non-halogenated waste bin, and this stuff is all soluble in ethanol. You can rinse everything off with a little bit of ethanol. And I'll probably just have a waste beaker for you guys to go into, and then we'll transfer it to the container later. If you're not sure everything's out of it or if it's wet, if anything's wet, you'll have to wipe it off with a Kim wipe before you use it.